Welcome to another episode, everyone. Prison Shotcaller comes for black individuals. As far as I'm concerned, this is what he does when he says that black individuals allow Chomos inside of their car, inside of their faction there in prison. In fact, if you are black and in there for doing something to a YT woman or for raping a YT child, you will get a high five from other black members. I take exception to this, and I don't know where this individual hails from. You all know who he is. And he's wrong for this as far as I'm concerned. This is JD DeLay, a very big timer, a very big YouTuber who did time in prison and says again that black individuals allow certain things in our factions that the whites disallow in theirs, namely the PDF files, predatory behavior. This, again, I take exception with. Let's check this out. This is The Connect with Johnny Mitchell. Shout out to The Connect with Johnny Mitchell.
Didn't set up the rules of how this goes, but we can't go up to somebody, you know, who's of another race and ask him, what are your charges? And what's the point if you do? Because you're not going to fight the dude and start a gang war on the yard. You can't extort the dude. You can't beat him up. You can't kill him. You have no business getting in another race's business. You know what I'm saying? So there's like we have different politics. White boys don't stand for that. If you are on some Chomo or you've got that hard R against a woman, then, you know, the white boys are not going to let you ride out. You're going to have a really bad ride. But there's other races that don't care.
Yeah, I noticed that especially with the blacks in Oregon, is that they really let a lot of that slide. And I think it's because they just need numbers on the main line.
Well, and also, I mean, like there's some of those groups where if it's a white girl, it's extra hood points. You know what I'm saying? If you a white girl, they're all high-fiving you for that. Oh, you got that white bitch. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad because if it was a white dude who a black girl or a Latina girl or any other race, we wouldn't see it any other way than you're a bro and we're you up. So
when you first joined,
I like JD DeLay. I respect JD DeLay. I respect him as a podcaster. I respect his channel. Hell, he has nearly 2 million subscribers or something. He did time in prison. I believe, in fact, they just said it again, Oregon. He's in Oregon prison. I believe this individual here, too, Johnny Mitchell, has been in prison before. That's why he said in Oregon prison, they just let a lot of stuff go. I suppose that's where he was at when he did some time there in prison. And I cannot speak for Oregon prison. I don't know what transpires there. I'm not from Oregon. I am from California. And I've done over 30 years of incarceration. And I can assure you that in California prisons anyway, that this sort of predatory behavior is disallowed by every and any black. You do not escape when you have predatory charges and you enter a level 4 yard. You're going to be dealt with in the most brutal of fashions. And I don't know what group he's referring to, or separate, or groups, plural, when he says that certain groups allow this and even will give you a high five and celebrate you, as you just heard him say, if it is a YT girl that you have done something to, or, you know, that you have laid down with. You know, and I just think it just takes me back to believing that these individuals think that a black man's objective in life is to sleep with one of their women. That's not the black man's objective in life. No black man would be celebrating that I know of because he lied down with Kim Kardashian or whomever. The hell with them. So what? You know, no one is celebrating that. No, that's not a score. Oh yeah, we scored. You got a snow bunny. No gives a damn. And so I don't know anyone celebrating this, and I don't know any black faction that allows Chomos into the ranks just to keep some numbers or just, you know, to keep individuals. I personally know many individuals that have lost their lives, who came into prison for dubious charges and they went down rapidly. So, to insinuate that black individuals are comfortable with this is, I take umbrage to that. Now, again, I don't know what goes on in Oregon prison. You guys get in the comments and you let me know if JD DeLay is on to something, you individuals from Oregon who knows about the prison system out there or who has been to prison out there, because, again, this is what this individual is saying. Side note, this video, Jackson Mowell, I believe it is, hit me up in my email and sent me this video. I had seen it before. I did not see it. I had seen the title before a couple months ago. I just never did anything. But he sent it to me and wanted me to, respond to this. I appreciate you, Jackson Mowell, or Mowell, Jackson Mowell, I think it is, Jackson Mowell. And, I can see why. Yeah, this is nasty work. Again, you all have to let me know how it goes out there in Oregon, but in California, this is unheard of. And, and it's also as if he said that, black individuals are racist, like we celebrate, like them, the whites, he said, it doesn't matter if it was a black girl, a Latino girl that had been abused, they're going to take care of it. But with black people, if it was a white girl, then black people will celebrate, as if black people are the racist people, or like, they stand on so much business. It doesn't matter who the individual girl was, they're going to take care of the individual. Well, so will black individuals. I've never heard a black individual that hits the yard and is accused of dastardly deeds against a female, and individuals say, well, what race was she? As long as she wasn't black, you're good. Or, no one asks what race was this individual woman. We only want to know, did you abuse her or not? It doesn't matter.
Irish Pride, then what is your function? Do you have to put in work, or are you just on the car at the workout bench? Like, what are you doing for that?
So, there's a 6-month prospect period.
Okay.
For most gangs, you know what I'm saying? Like most of the gangs in the Oregon system, there's either a 6-month or a 1-year prospect period. And really all I was seeing when I was out there was the organizations were doing a 6-month prospect period. I think they did away with the 1 year in most of them, even though it was that before. And at the end of that, you have to put in work. I didn't wait till the end. There were opportunities for me to do things that like I'm not going to talk about on the internet because there's not a statute of limitations for some of this stuff. Some stuff I've been busted for, some stuff there's a statute of limitations, and some of the stuff that I've done I'll never ever talk about on the internet because to this day they could come back and they could be like, well, there's no statute of limitations on that type of violent crime. But like I did my early.
In California anyway, there's a statute of limitation for everything except murder. Everything else is going to run its course. Murder, there's no statute of limitation. So I don't know what he's talking about, but I don't want to speculate. He doesn't want to talk about it. Neither do I.
And so I ended up, I still had to ride out my prospect period. And then they put it to a vote. Whoever's on the yard, wherever you are, is like, okay, so should we have this dude get should he be allowed to ride with us? Should he be allowed to patch? Sometimes they'll make you wait longer. Sometimes they'll put you on earlier. I ended up getting put on just a little bit shy of like 4 months. But it's, I went in with the intention to do some harm while I was there. Because I was molested when I was 6 years old. And I never got justice against the person that molested me. Like nothing ever came of it because, it was a person that was involved with my family's church. And, there was a very big stigma that gay people go to hell. And I'm 6 years old. And this dude did stuff with me that wasn't like consensual, but like I thought it made me gay. And I thought I was going to go to hell. And I didn't want to tell my parents, like, I'm not going to heaven with you because I'm gay now. And there was like this whole extra trauma added to it because of the religious aspect of it. So when I went to prison, I was like, I'm gonna beat up a bunch of chomos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna find these dudes. I'm gonna make them as miserable as humanly possible.
Yeah, someone's getting touched for what happened to me getting touched.
Yeah. So, you know, and I don't think that it's really like, I mean, I respect anybody who goes in there and is willing to do whole time and all of that for beating up chomos. But like, you've seen the chomos, bro. How many tough chomos have you seen?
Not one.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously.
So it's not like, it doesn't make you gangster to go beat up a child molester because they're pukes, bro.
Yeah.
They ain't shit.
Yeah.
You know, you want my respect for fighting, fight a gangster.
Sure.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. As far as fighting one, as far as fighting a chomo, but if you are sticking some iron in them, which that is what is supposed to happen once one of these individuals hit a prison yard and they have these charges, they're not supposed to be fought. There's no fight to be had. You know, you really fight your friends or your homies or people that you respect. You fight, then you shake hands perhaps afterwards or what have you. But individuals like that are in there for these sort of crimes, they don't get a fair one. They don't get the respect of having a fight. They get dealt with in the most brutal of fashions as they are supposed to. But there you have it. That's JD Delay, as I said. Shout out to him and his channel. Shout out to Johnny, the Connect with Johnny Mitchell. They're interviewing him. They went on and on. Perhaps I'll react to another part of this because they went on to talk about a riot, I believe, and some other stuff. And, you know, again, he's a big YouTuber, but I can't say that what goes on in Oregon prison. As I said, I've never been there. You all would have to tell me, but speaking for California prison anyway, the politics are indeed there. Black individuals indeed have politics. Blacks do not allow chomos on the yard. If you hit the yard, you hit a level 4 yard for sure, and you have these charges, and you enter a California prison level 4 yard, you're cooked. You are cooked. You're done. Believe me. It doesn't. And who the charges are against doesn't matter. The race of the individual who you cross the line with doesn't matter. No one is going to ask you that question. What race was the person that you did it to? That's neither here nor there. The only thing anyone wants to know is whether or not you're actually guilty of this. And if you're in prison for it and you've been found guilty of it, and if the paperwork indicates that these are what your charges are, then you're guilty. As far as the prison inmates are concerned, and you're going down. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free. Ooh.